Welcome back to another episode of my Ultimate Iron Man. I am here doing something I would never ever recommend you do, which is try and do a live commentary when you're running the last part of the Solid Sepulcher, when you're probably 3 weeks dry from doing Sepulcher. So yeah, not the greatest, but I've been doing agility, just running laps because I've been AFKing rather frequently this last week or so. And I just got enough for some graceful pieces, and I didn't want to commit to having graceful marks for the last piece I needed. So it's okay, I'm close to a level. I'll go do some sepulcher. It's probably about time I green log that anyway. Again, not that I'm in a rush to do that, but I just it feels like I left it incomplete, even though it just made sense to leave at the time that I did. So I figured I'd come back and knock that off. But this is not going to be an agility-focused episode, I promise you that. We have had too many of those recently. This is mainly, I'm hoping, going to be a forestry episode. Forestry comes out, I guess technically tomorrow, as it's now almost 4 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. It's going to be 2 days for me, it feels like, with work considered. But I'm really looking forward to checking that out. This will probably end up mostly being the kind of I don't want to say a deep dive, but a dive into forestry from the UIM perspective, because I know I'm pretty sure a lot of the way you get unlocked is going to be by bringing noted logs, which of course we can't just go to the bank and note them ourselves. We're going to have to get creative how we get the noted logs. So it'll be fun to try and see, what we got to do to make that work, what's worth going for. But for now, there is 97 agility. My goal is 200 marks of grace. That's all I need to get the last 2 pieces, and then Hollowed Sepulcher will be done. Maybe done forever on this account, depending on how bored I get of it, because I will say it's okay XP, and I'm sure I could get back into a good groove, but even though it's really only been 2 weeks since I've done it, it's the frustration, man. I could do it no problem. I didn't need to worry. My time, I still had over 2 minutes left on my very first run back, but it's just, when you mess up and then you mess up 6 times in a row, it's so frustrating, and I just I don't know if I could handle another long grind like that when there's a lot normal rooftop agility is just so not frustrating and not that much less XP. But it's good for now. Oh, finally done after this last one, and I definitely do think I would be taking a long, maybe forever break from the Sepulcher. I got over the frustration a little bit, but it just feels like the servers have been super laggy tonight, which even when it says I have good ping, it doesn't feel like the game is working right. I've been playing a healthy amount of Diablo 4 lately too, and I've been having that experience now that I'm in the more endgame stuff where there's lots of other people around. It's just laggy all the time, so maybe my internet just sucks, but I don't think it's that. But anyway, if we go ahead and buy the hallowed symbol and the hallowed hammer, that will complete the Hollowed Sepulcher collection log. Look at that, green logged. Yay for us. Got everything. I'm very happy with my time at the Hollowed Sepulcher. I came, I saw, I conquered, I feel like very much. Maybe I don't have world record time. I still am curious if it's possible to get sub 6 minutes without some kind of manipulation with other people being on the world, but I am very happy. Don't regret my time here, but definitely ready to move on. So I don't know, hopefully maybe I'll find something to do between now and forestry, but I'm pretty sure I'll probably just play more Diablo. I literally closed OBS, remembered I had gotten a hard clue that I had went and got, and I was like, whatever, I'll just open it. It's not like we're getting anything good. And then we ended up getting 2 uniques in the Ancient Kite Shield and the Red D'hide body trimmed. So that's kind of cool. I just freaking missed 94 Hunter. I mean, we didn't get anything anyway, but it's Michael's fault. Michael, I won't say your last name, even though it's in the comments, but I was just looking up your name so I could credit you for, they commented on the last video saying, hey, you should use the Irby AFK plugin, which you have to go to the plugin hub to get, because it's, it works in tandem with the Herbivore plugin that's built in. It doesn't work if I don't have the other one on. But what it does is, I mentioned the last episode that on the C++ client, or the mobile client that is, it will, when you use Herbivore, it tells you which location to search, even though sometimes there'll be 2 locations and you have to choose, and the mobile client just tells you which ones to search. The built-in Herbivore does not tell you, but the Herbivore AFK I don't really need the arrow and the line is a little helpful. I don't think it's super necessary, but it does seem to so far always just point to the right patch, even though it doesn't like highlight it. Like I would have, I still think there's a better, like the mobile version is just the best version. It combines the best parts of these two into like what it all I need. Like I think the arrow is excessive. I would rather just have it highlight the one obstacle you need to item you need to search. But it's whatever. This is good. So if you are doing Herbivore, I would recommend the Herby AFK plugin. Although I'm curious if anyone has used, I recently installed and have yet to use the Steam client. I might start messing around with that. We'll see how it works for other things, because I'm realizing I feel like I'm very dependent on RuneLite, but I also feel like, one, I think there's a lot more things that have just made their way into the Steam client, and two, I feel like there's not a lot of things that like, oh, I need to have this, so I might start messing around with that. We'll see how it works, but for now, just, whittling away at Herbivore. Good morning, RuneScapers. I am here bright and early, right on the heels of the Forestry release. I am ready to jump right into it. It's definitely not 2 p.m. on Friday, like 3 days almost after the update came out, because I just can't stop playing Diablo. It's a problem. Please send help. But I do want to at least check out Forestry. I've got my lumberjack outfit here, my beaver pet, which I've had for a while actually. But I know there's some recolors you can get from that, and a bunch of things. I just got a backpack for like Fashionscape, but I think you do eventually earn a backpack or something. This guy right here, the friendly forester in Draenor Village, is the guy you want to talk to, I think, to get started with Forestry. So I'm gonna read up on this and see what this is about. I've been familiar with like some of the blog posts, but I have not gone through all the bullet points, especially not on the most recent ones. So I'm kind of gonna take this mostly blind. Okay, so I got the Forestry kit. You had to buy it, so I actually had to go pickpocket and doing some things, but I know it can store the leaves you get from like events or for cutting the forester's rations, which might not even be in the game yet. I know that has to do with like the 200 axes, which aren't in this release of Forestry. And then you have the things that are like part of the events: leprechaun charms, bee on a stick, nature offering, and then anima infused bark, I think, is what you can find when you're cutting trees. We will find that out in a bit. The rest of the shop, I'm actually surprised a lot of it, like here are the things you need to make those little components, and based on their price, it seems like they might be like one-time use or limited use items. I'm a little confused. So I don't know how that works, but I know there are some, like there's a log basket, which kind of works like the fish basket, but with logs. And there's like a log brace. You can use that to combine it with the Forestry backpack I have on right now. There's a closed blueprint, which lets you store the lumberjack outfit in the Forestry kit, which I don't know if that means like you get the bonuses when you're wearing it with the kit, but also I don't know why. I guess that's just so if you want a Fashionscape, you can have that and not have to do the Forestry thing, which is whatever. There is an option to buy the lumberjack outfit. Of course, we already have it, and I think definitely, especially for UIMs, honestly, probably for everybody, or at least for irons, maybe. I would say still just do temple tracking. It doesn't take that long. But obviously for UIMs, we knew this is going to be an issue, but a lot of the things, in addition to having anima-infused bark costs, you need to have noted logs, which I think you can store in this guy if you bring them to him noted. And of course, it's not the easiest thing in the world for us to get noted logs because, we can't just note them ourselves. Most of them are fairly simple, although you see once you start getting to the expensive things, we have like Arctic pine logs, which that actually didn't even drop as a note. They think they said they were going to add it to something, which I have no idea which monster they added it to, but it should be in the game somewhere. Like redwoods could be a little difficult, magic and use, things that could take a while. So I was worried about that. I guess good news and bad news. The good news is, doesn't seem to need to be too worried because none of this stuff really seems to be necessary to get any of the new benefits from Forestry. Half of these are just cosmetics at the bottom. Definitely don't think any of us would want a log basket, so then we also don't need the log brace. The closed blueprint is not, that's like a fashionscape thing, not necessary at all. Maybe this stuff will be a little annoying not to have for the events. We'll have to wait and see. But if they are, if you only need one of them, then like getting oak logs and maybe some like willow or maples wouldn't be that hard. So maybe I could try experimenting with some of that. I was a little disappointed. The funky shaped log is what you need to unlock the recolors for the beaver pet. And you need, oh my god, 500 of everything. That's insane. Again, like I'd have to go through the list, but I think like oaks through mahoganies probably, and in used, especially used, like I'm sure you could find things you could grind them out fairly quickly and get those done. But Arctic pine and then redwood, I just have, I don't want to say no idea, but I'm struggling to think where to start on that. But I think I'm just probably gonna try, and I think there's supposed to be like a forestry world right now, so I might try going to that and see if people are chopping, and we'll do some experimenting. I know most of the things affect trees outside of the woodcutting guild, but I'm pretty sure there are. I think the redwoods got some benefits, so we'll make sure we look at those at some point too. Alright, doing a little check-in here, and let me actually save your eardrums for a second before I do this. I have turned on Entity Hider, although it still looks pretty crowded with all the pets that are here. I decided I went to the forestry world, and I've just, decided to test it out at the willow logs right here, since, they were literally right there. And XP actually has ended up being better than I thought. I've been here for about 30 minutes, and you can see 84k XP an hour. Which might be a little surprising if you had done willows before, because I know when it was before I started getting any of the events really, it was sitting around like 65-ish KXP, and then I have gotten a couple events since then. I'll hopefully be able to show off some of them here later in the video. According to public chat, which I also have hidden right now because I would say not quite as bad as Wintertodd, but still pretty bad, as you'd expect from, public chat when there's 100 people here or something like that. But some useful information that they said, and I've also confirmed firsthand experience, some of the events are bugged because you're supposed to get, I've never seen these ones yet, these tree roots. I think you just chop these and get XP, yeah. So far, the only events I've really ever seen are the, like struggling sapling events, which is actually kind of it's a little intensive, but it's kind of fun, and you get good XP. Although this one is probably, I would say this one is better in that you just sit here and chop them, and you can see I'm constantly getting anima infused bark just for participating in these. What is that? Oh, a cannon. Someone's putting a cannon up. Of course they are. Gotta add more clutter here. But so for these ones, you get a little bit of XP, throughout the event for just participating in it. And then also, at least as far as the other ones I've done, you get a chunk of XP at the end once the event is, over. And that's why my XP an hour has bumped up like that. For the struggling sapling one, I think I've gotten like 4k XP at the end once I finish that, which, is definitely enough to bump up my woodcutting XP significantly. However, I think I've done probably 4 or I think I've done 5 of those events at this point, and I've only gotten XP for 2 of them at the end. I'm not sure why, and other people are saying it's confirmed that there's bugs for that. My initial just kind of like a very light, looking at it on my own, is that it seems like if it's not just bugged in general, whereas sometimes you just don't get it, my guess would be either if the event doesn't spawn from the tree that you were actively chopping, because sometimes you'll see one, you can see ones that spawn within a radius of you, even if it wasn't from your actual tree. I would guess that maybe if it doesn't come from the actual tree you were chopping, you can't get XP from that, even though you still do get like little incremental XP as you're participating throughout it. You just don't get the big XP drop at the end. But I could also think, in my experience, I've seen you can kind of like keep interacting with the event right until it ends, and I think maybe if you are like trying to deposit extra, things into it as it's ending, it'll bug it out for some reason. Because the last 2 times I have gotten XP drops. I got the XP drop my very first time doing it, and then my last time. And what I've been doing is once it's like 95% done, I'll just stop participating and go back to cutting, and I've gotten XP both times. So maybe it's that, but also like even if it's not, it seems like it's that there still is a bug. I'm just trying to think of a way to always get your XP because, as I said, even at Willows, being able to get over 80k is pretty nice. But I am gonna go and switch it up and probably try like Yews or Maples. Probably maybe I'll go try like Maples at Seer Village. We'll just do a little bit of a little world tour of a RuneScape, and maybe it'll be a little less toxic in public chat over there. Oh, I am curious though to check how many I probably say 35-40 minutes now. How much have I gotten? So I've gotten 550 anima infused bark. 96 willow leaves from chopping, and then you also get yew leaves and magic leaves as a reward from the events. Again, if they give you the rewards. Also, is that my bird nest? It is! Ooh, that's an egg. I almost missed that one. Just wanted to show you guys for the root event, this is what the magic roots look like, the ones that give you over double XP, and they seem to last for a lot longer than these other roots do. And they give you 6 anima per swing as fused, or per, reward as opposed to 2. They are a little hard to see when you're looking like straight on like that, but it looks like if you have the camera facing towards the east, they look pretty noticeable. Oh my god, y'all, this chat is hilarious. It's already been over 30 minutes. I should have left Maples by now because I really want to try everything, but I've just been sitting here. This UIM, bless his heart, he's just going off. He hates this, he hates the events, and he's just so like butthurt. And then of course everyone's doing the same, all like, oh, UIM's always complaining about stuff. It's just hilarious to watch. Dude's unhinged. But XP and hour wise, I actually am just over 100k right now. I hit a peak of 110k a little bit ago. It just depends on how many events you get, and I feel like I'm getting much less events here than I was at Willows, but I also think like these trees up here and the ones down here are close enough to like steal, in quotes, events away, because there can only be so many that spawn in an area. So I'm sure there'll be all kinds of like, super efficient methods for where to cut trees and making sure that every single person is actually cutting the same one or something along those lines. But just sitting here being pretty chill, not really, coordinating with anyone else other than just, chopping trees and then doing events when they pop up. It's over 100k XP an hour just about at Maples, which I think is pretty good. Also, I have a knife in my inventory, but I have just been dropping the logs. I want to experiment with fletching because I do need some arrow shafts eventually. But it is, just want to make sure that's clear. I'm just doing purely woodcutting right now. And I think I kind of want to go try, I watched a friend's video about when he did magic logs, and I don't think he was banking, so maybe I'll get more XP from there, although my woodcutting is only 92. But I kind of just want to try everything, like building up. Obviously, it's probably going to be more XP an hour, you would think, with the higher trees you go. But I do think once you start getting into yews and stuff, there's more of like cut time versus XP reward could be different, so I don't know. But then you also get the plus 10 boosts if other people are there. I'm really enjoying this update. Alright, I've only been at Jagex for about 20 minutes. I have to go to work here pretty soon, so I can't do my normal full 30-minute, maybe even longer tests. I might come back to do it. I think it will be very dependent on certain aspects, because right now I'm looking at, we just finished up an event, so I was at like 96k right now. I'd imagine it would probably, if you're not banking and just dropping it, probably levels out around 85k. Maybe it'll sit around at 90. But also something that I haven't mentioned is that it can be very dependent on which events you get. We've seen the bark events, and I think I've showed off like the little sapling events too. But those ones, you don't need any extra forestry items to participate in. You can just do those. I've only seen the bee event a little bit. Those are the ones where you do need a bee on a stick, which you need some of the noted logs to make those. And I think they're consumed, so you need like quite a bit of noted logs. So if we see those, we unfortunately can't do them. And then the leprechaun ones too, UIMs, we can't participate in those, no benefit to us. And I also don't even know how much like normal mains would care about that too. I think they do like those maybe a little bit, so you can deposit your logs. I guess especially at Jagex if you're cutting for money. But there's weird things where like if no one has any of like the charms to summon the leprechauns or like bees and sticks in their inventory or like in their forestry kit, I don't think those events have a chance, or at least not a high of a chance, spawning as the rest of the ones. So it's like more efficient. Like the most efficient you could get is if you had like a group of specifically 10 people who none of them had the leprechaun charms or bees and sticks. Like that's how UIM specifically, and I guess anyone really, could get the most XP an hour. But obviously it's a multiplayer game. People are going to have their different different, concerns, whether that's, just doing collection log, hunting animas, or just wanting to do, best money for them, and you want leprechauns. So you can't be too mad about, people getting those leprechaun things. I'm cool to just experiment and see what feels the best. I will say, talking about the chats, Forestry World at Willows, the chat was way too crazy. I liked Maple chat because that UIM was going off. This chat is kind of like drunk chat, which, to be fair, it is now 7:30 on a Friday. So, to each their own. People out there having fun. Not as enjoyable. I'd give it like a 4 or 5 out of 10. Not my favorite. Well, I just woke up. It's Saturday morning. Forestry has only been out for a couple days, but it looks like the built-in woodcutting plugin has updated to now, at least for the Roots random event, it always shows you where the best one is to chop. So that's pretty cool. Well, to go to show about randomization affecting things, I have been at Magic Logs now for almost an hour just this session, and we are looking at 63. If we get one more event, we could probably push it up to 65k XP an hour. Yeah, it feels like I'm getting slightly less events than yesterday, but also definitely like the mushroom event, or not the mushroom, the sapling event, I think is by far the best one for XP, or between that and the roots. So it's it's whatever. I wasn't expecting too much because I'd already heard that Magic was not the greatest. It was around. This is what I'd heard. It was around. If you're at higher woodcutting level, it probably would be a little bit better. But yeah. I'm about to head out, but when I come back, I am going to go to use, I think. I'm trying to think of where the best place to go for use would be. I was wondering if like Lumbridge, I don't know, I think there's like a couple in the back out here. There's like 3, maybe that would be good. Or like, I don't know, there's some, maybe outside Falador might be a nice area. I have no clue. Okay, another report. I'm still in the middle of investigating use, but people don't like the B event. I understand why. It's click intensive. The XP is definitely not as good as the sapling event, and maybe not as good as the roots, but I don't think the roots are as good as people think they are, because you don't get the big bonus XP drop at the end. You just get pretty decent XP through the thing. Well, 2 things. One, you just missed 93 woodcutting. I don't even know where the message just is like disappeared in the chat somewhere. You get so many things. But yeah, we just hit 93. Hooray for me. I'm in the middle of an event, so I forgot it was coming. And also, normally I do try and do the full, like with the plugin, you can see that you're supposed to do R, then M, then R. It's super far, especially because you can't run behind this U tree, so you have to run all the way back there. It doesn't make sense to run there and then run back and run there. So if you get 2 out of the 3 ingredients you need, I think you get half the XP you would get from if you did all 3 of them. So this is one of the very few cases I have found where I do actually think it is better to just do these 2 that are right here. Since I don't even have to move, I can just spam R and then click on the tree right there, and I get half the XP drop I would have gotten if I went and did all 3 of them. And then of course I will still hopefully get the same amount of XP at the end. I just literally recorded a clip saying like, oh, I just got an event, just finished up an hour. It was looking like, 80-ish K an hour, 84 is going to be the thing. But we just got another event on top of that. So now it's looking like 85K an hour can be a probably realistic, reality. Again, if you get lucky with events. Well, I'd be lying if I say I expected a little bit more. I think I knew that events wouldn't be here, but redwoods seem to be redwoods. I've been here for a bit, hovering around the 70K an hour mark. I don't even know, like, I heard there were some parts of forestry involved, which made me think, I'll go, if there's multiple people here, then you get the invisible bonus. But then, like, I don't know, like, am I getting the invisible bonus from that, or just the woodcutting invisible bonus? There's no, like, indication of that, which, again, I don't think there would be. And, like, as far as chat goes, like, nobody's talking here. Like, people have their forestry kit stuff on, and, like, I found one spot where everyone is bunched up. This is the forestry world, too, but, like, most other places just have, like, one person at them, kind of just like normal redwoods do. So it just seems like it's the same thing. I don't know. It's obviously, I guess this is AFK, but I feel like even with the new updates to forestry, you could like AFK at like use or something like that, and even if you don't even do the events, you'd probably get comparable XP rates or something like that. So I don't know. It's not my jam. I'm gonna move on. Okay, mahoganies have been pretty chill. This just happened to be the first place I checked that had people here. I'm thinking maybe north of the farming guild might be better because it's just mahoganies. There's no teaks up there. Because sometimes the events spawn here and it's still worth to go run to them. But I think like it'd be better XP if they were, only the mahoganies right here. And also it was a little more coordinated. But that's, that's everything. XP wise, I think 100k an hour is about where it'll average out when you consider, events and all that stuff. That's what I'm going to call it for myself. So yeah, pretty good. I maybe want to try Teaks too, but they just look so insane over there. Maybe I'll try and find a slightly different world. And I think I'm going to wrap up my forestry journey for this video, at least, here at Teaks. I actually already spent some time with Teaks yesterday. I was just on the forestry world. It was huge. There were tons of people here. It was kind of a mess, but I was still able to get, I think, like 130k, somewhere around that. I wasn't there for a full hour, but it was pretty close. I was really getting about somewhere in that ballpark, 125, 130. Right now, I've just got some smaller world, so there's still hopefully at least 10 people here. We can get the full bonuses, and I'll get, I have plenty of time today. I'll get a really good idea of how much XP an hour it is. Although that might not matter that much, because it is now July 3rd. I procrastinated on this video, which I was sad about, but now I'm a little happy because I can give you guys some more up-to-date information, because Jagex just released a blog post this morning, a little update to the forestry blog. And they're monitoring, basically just say, hey, they're monitoring XP rates and events and stuff like that. Could be changes. They did confirm, though, biggest things. For me, even though they seem to think that everyone really likes the roots event and then the sapling event, they're gonna nerf the sapling XP rates by 30%. Okay, whatever. I don't now roots probably will be the best event, or close-ish, even though people already thought they were, but whatever. Hopefully they'll continue to monitor it and change it. They didn't say they were going to buff the pollen event. They just said they were going to monitor it. But again, I don't think it feels really long and not interesting for how intensive it is, but I don't really care. We'll see. The biggest thing, or not bigger, a big thing is too, they said for Ultimate Iron players, they might now they didn't even say are they going to pull it or are they adding it in, but they said as it is right now, we can bring noted logs to the forester, and he can store those, and we can bulk those up for any of the to buy things we need, because anything other than the forestry kit costs some form of noted logs. As we went over earlier in this video, I don't really think any of it is necessary. If all you care about is getting max efficiency or something like that, which that would be the only thing I could see UIM's complaining about. It's like, hey, we can't interact and get the best rates from this content because we're gated behind noted logs. But it wasn't that. It was pretty much just like, hey, we can't get the new cosmetics because we're gated behind noted logs. I guess maybe having the plank sack and the forestry kit could be okay for construction. But again, that's a slight benefit. That would be just pretty much, rather than having to if I had the plank sack, I would get a inventory here, run to get him, turn into planks, put him in the sack, come back and do it again. Whereas if I had the backpack, I could get logs, fill the logs, get more logs, and then just run there once. It saves 5 seconds. I don't know. I guess maybe over hundreds of hours it could make a meaningful difference. I don't think it's a huge issue, but anyway. Apparently, we will now be able to bring noted or unnoted logs to the forester, and we can deposit them with him, and he'll hold them kind of like the balloon transport system, they said, where you can put logs in, but you can't ever take them out. So I guess, it's quality of life. It's cool. I guess we can interact with the event more now. I had been theory crafting ways to get the noted logs because I would have really liked to get the pet recolors I had said. And it would have been a huge grind. It looked like it was going to be a lot of shades of Morton for the redwood. That's the only way to get noted redwood logs. And then there are other ways, grinds, you can get small amounts of the other logs. It seemed like Wintertod would probably be the most consistent way, just because you can get those from the crates. But again, I don't know how that would have actually looked in real time. You probably would have had to do a lot of Wintertod, which I wouldn't hate. I still need the pet, so I wouldn't mind going back there, even though I have 18 mil fire XP. But yeah. It's whatever. Overall, I don't care too much. I'm not going to get up in arms about, they're ruining the spirit of the game mode by not letting us do this. I think, as we saw earlier, it's mostly just cosmetic stuff. I don't think it's a huge deal. It does just kind of, lessen the flex you would see of any UIMs that have the pet recolor. But that's about it. Real quick before I leave here, I want to say I I think the bee event might be my second favorite behind the sapling event now, because I realized, and I see someone online or some, I think it was someone in game saying that you actually don't need to constantly be participating in it to get the full big reward at the end, because I'll show it next time after it finds the next flowers. Because the way it works is you tend to these flowers, you get some pollen, and then you go back and you pollinate the other ones. You only get 16 XP every single time you do that. So it's not, even if you're doing it constantly, especially at Teaks, maybe other places will be more XP at like Jagex or something, but like here, like I'll chop Teaks way faster than I would getting the 16 XP. And I already did this once, and if you just do it, if you make sure every time it changes to a new pair of flowers, you just go, and I do it 3 times, like 1, 2, and then back to the original one. I still ended up getting the big XP drop and the rewards at the end. So it's like honestly, it might even be the best for XP an hour, and especially if they end up nerfing the sapling one, because it's just, you can participate in it once, get a little XP, and then you can still get your big XP at the end. And that pawn event was pretty much right at the end of my 1 hour you see here, and that was just enough to get me over. I'm going to call it 115k an hour. It's saying 116k right there. I think 115 is a good baseline number. I didn't get the most luck with events. There were a couple leprechauns there, but I also wasn't 100% focused. So I think 115 is a good, healthy number. So I'll throw up on screen my little own, recordings of my little, adventure into forestry for the XP and hours. I'm still not sure what my favorite is. I think in the future I will also maybe experiment at like user maples, or like how much XP can you get if you're also like fletching, because that could be another. I do need arrow shafts, that could be something here. But if you just want XP an hour, no surprise, Teaks are the way to go, at least for right now. But if you want, I think there's a balance somewhere between AFK and still good XP. I think even like U's AFKing might be better than like Redwood's AFKing, I guess, depending on what your definition of AFKing is. But that's going to do it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Nice long one. I made it a little longer and didn't get it as soon as I wanted to, because I just was having so much fun with forestry and wanted to kind of see everything I could without, just doing a little bit of it. But now it looks like things are going to change, so who knows if this is worth it. I've been enjoying forestry. I hope you guys are too, and hopefully you will join me in the next video.